again. I don't think I've ever been introduced so many times in one morning. Thank you very much, Claudine, our voice from the back. Now, you all know Shaista. She is ranked as #1 on Forbes Middle East list of the top healthcare leaders. She needs no introduction, and we're so fortunate to have her with us today to talk about her passion, which is longevity. This is one of my passions too, Shaista. As a healthcare leader with this focus, what does longevity mean to you? And tell us about Pure Health's role in advancing longevity's role in this region.
Thank you, Ramia. So first of all, Assalamu alaikum, and good morning, Riyadh. I must admit this is my first time here, and I think it is absolutely spectacular. So thank you, Riyadh, for hosting this, and thank you for hosting me. Longevity. So Ramia, longevity is, it's a buzzword right now, isn't it? Everyone's talking about it. But for what most people don't know is that longevity is not just adding years to your life. Actually, we have our mission statement is, it is adding years to your life, but life to your years. You see, the lifespans have been increasing exponentially over the last century. It's only 1 century ago that an average lifespan was about 30. I mean, can you imagine? It was only 30 years old. And we are now at a time when we have an average lifespan somewhere in the late 70s, and we're very lucky in some countries if it's in the early 80s. But the problem that's happening is that sick span, or the time that you spend in poor health, is also increasing exponentially. We now spend more time in poor health than we did at any time historically. And longevity for us is not just about adding that number to the overall age. What's the point if you're going to spend the last 10, 15 years of your life in poor health? It is about pushing that health span more and more to come closer to your lifespan. And once you start doing that, it automatically pushes that number away and away. I mean, imagine if you have a graph and you have an x-axis and a y-axis. And if the x-axis is the quality of life and the y-axis is the number of years you're going to be on this planet, what we're trying to do at Pure Health is to push the quality of life more and more. So the portion of your life that you spend in better and excellent quality of life gets to be closer to that y-axis, thus making a square. Your second part of the question on Pure Health, we're actually very uniquely positioned in the region to be the pioneers in delivering on this vision and being the thought leaders that will export this vision to the rest of the world. We have a mandate, and longevity can only be delivered when you have holistic care. And what is holistic care? So every individual has a right to all-encompassing care. We all agree on that. And holistic care is when you give 360-degree care to an individual from before he's born to the time that he passes away. And Pure Health, we have about 48 hospitals. We have a workforce of about 50,000 people between here and the US. We've got 100+ clinics and a complete integrated healthcare ecosystem which has the ability to deliver that kind of care from before an individual is born till the time that they pass on. And we're focused heavily on technology, on AI, on stem cell, on genomics, on all aspects of technology to deliver on this vision.
Tell us a little bit about how you're using AI and technology to deliver your vision of not only increasing lifespan, but quality of life on par with lifespan.
AI, technology, and then there's a third component, data. All of these three are extremely critical. It is as critical as oxygen is for us to survive. That is how critical it is for the evolution of healthcare to deliver anything. I mean, better health outcomes, longevity, you name it. It is the name of the game. So you have to be technology adept. I have a 6-year-old daughter, and I think by the year 2062, she'll be 45. How is she going to access healthcare? Will it be the way that healthcare is delivered today? No. She's going to be living in an era where she's going to be having gene editing, mainstream stem cell rejuvenation. She will have 3D bioprinting of organs and healthcare delivered to her in her home at her fingertips. She's going to be moving to an era where AI is not going to be artificial intelligence, but it'll be the real intelligence. And that's how important it is for us to evolve into that era. Technology, data is a product of using and technology, and AI analytics are a product of data. Without the three, you cannot plan your healthcare journey. Imagine if everybody on this planet had a doctor with them 24/7. Do you think they would have a better life? So technically, of course, practically and technically it's not possible, but technology can make it possible. So if before an individual is born, you do their entire comprehensive genome sequencing, you can predict what that individual will face for the rest of his life, and you can put the preventive measures in place to counter that. Not just that, if a platform has the ability to ingest the data from all your medical records, from your insurance company, from your habits, from your wearables, skinnables, imagine the holistic care that that will be able to provide you. That is how important technology and AI is on delivering our agenda of longevity.
Absolutely incredible. The changes that are up ahead. And how are you tackling mindset change within the healthcare sector and the population? And what exactly do you mean by mindset change?
I think I'm going to give credit to COVID for the mindset change that happened in the healthcare sector. I call COVID the Chief Transformation Officer of healthcare. So there are two sets of mindset change, right? There's the physician aspect, which is the clinicians, and then there's the population. I'm going to first talk about the physicians. When COVID happened, they had no choice but to jump on the bandwagon where healthcare is being driven towards the fourth industrial revolution. They had to. They didn't have a choice. They went to remote teleconsultation. Pharmacies went online. Everything went online, and it worked. And when it worked, everybody said, wait a minute, why do we have 100 hospitals? Why do we have 300 clinics when we can do with less? People stopped coming to the facilities. People got their medications delivered. They would talk to their pharmacist online. They would get access to their healthcare records. And that's prompted that mindset change within the physicians. I believe they're beginning to realize that while AI is not going to replace clinicians, but clinicians who use AI will replace the ones who don't. When we come to a population mindset, my daughter is 22, my eldest, and she lives her life completely different from how we live her life. And she's a right ambassador of the population that we have right now. Most of the people within the Middle East especially are in that age cohort. And she does not go to the mall to buy something. She orders her food online, and then she tracks the driver and gets extremely irritated when he's 5 minutes late. She's like, why can't he find my door? That's the generation of today, instant gratification. That's your audience. Healthcare has to adapt to cater to them. So I think the mindset change is already happening. Your physical aspects or your touch points are decreasing because everything is going online.
And speaking of longevity, if people are living longer and they're going to be healthy for longer, what type of impact do you expect this to have on the global economy?
It's interesting you asked me that, Ramia. I just read an article on the Financial Times about, I think it was 3 or 4 days ago. And that talks about aging populations and the catastrophe that's going to have if health span is not catered to. It actually said that by the year 2050, most of the global countries are going to be labeled as junk economies because they're going to have an aging and a sick population. And again, coming back to longevity, meaning people to live longer, healthier, I think it's going to redefine how we think about economies. Right now, we are conditioned to think about economy that we're born, we have to go to school by the age of, school starts at 3 or 4 in most countries. We have to go to college by 16, 18. By our early 20s, we need to have an undergrad or master's, then we need to start working, we need to get married. We need to reach our prime at a certain age, and we need to retire at 58 in some countries and 60 in some. And then we need to start preparing for the end of life. That is how we are all conditioned to live our lives. But it doesn't have to be that way. Now imagine if you're leading an extremely healthy life till the age of 100. At the age of 50, you can choose to get another degree. You can start another profession. You can have kids till 50, 60, it doesn't really matter. You can be at 90, you could be as active as you want to be and start a third business. You can lead multiple times in that, what we consider lifetime today. That's going to create more demand. It's going to raise the GDP. It's going to have a more productive nation that's going to contribute. It's sad. You retire somebody at the age of 60 when they're at their peak. That's when I want to learn from that person. That's when he should contribute. He's got this entire life of wisdom. And we say, now you can go home. That's it. So if we tackle aging like a disease, and aging has been categorized as a disease now, people die more of aging than they do of any other disease on the planet. Then imagine how much productive an economy can be if you've got more active people in there.
Incredible. And as a female healthcare leader, what made you choose the healthcare industry, a predominantly male-dominated industry, and what were the major challenges that you faced along the way?
I think we need a separate session for that. But healthcare, I have a predominant belief that all of us are brought into this world with the vision to make this world a better place for the generations to come. And if we don't do that, then what's the point really, right? We come, we spend our time on this planet and we leave. We need to make it a more livable, happier, healthier planet. And whatever profession that I always wanted to choose had to be around that vision. So that's healthcare. I wanted to leave this place a better place than I came into. The challenges that I faced, I think everybody faces challenges. Women maybe more so, but that gives us more of an opportunity to learn from those challenges. There's this very famous poet. I'm going to try and recall a verse that he says. His name is Muhammad Iqbal. He's our national poet. And he says in one of his poems, I pray that God bestows upon you the storms of this world because you can only rise higher when the wind is against you. So challenges are opportunities. They groom you, they teach you, they shape you. And the more challenges you face, welcome them, because they are the mini university lessons that you're going to be getting on how to tackle boardroom politics, how to tackle transformation, cultural change. Every challenge is an opportunity to learn.
And why is the niche in healthcare of longevity so important to you personally?
I think when I will ask the audience on what is the most important thing for you in your lives, what would it be? Family, health. So family, career, health, impact. Whatever these things are, there's a common denominator here. Time. You need time to make the impact. You need time with your family. You need time on this planet to do more, love more, be more. You need basically more time. Now, why is time important to me? And why are we on this journey to unlock time? I was thinking on how to put a numerical value on time. How can I tell you the value of time? And the best way I think I can explain the value of time is by asking this one question from everyone. What would you give to get 5 minutes with someone you've lost?
What would you give to get 5 more minutes with someone you lost?
You've lost.
Khaloud.
Yeah.
She would.
Everything.
Khalud says everything.
Everything. And Khalud, that's the value of time. So I've lost a couple of people during the last few years, and I would give everything. I would give anything with 5 minutes. So imagine.
Yeah.
So we are on this mission, and why this is so important is that I don't want to give everybody just 5 minutes. I want to give everyone 5 months, 5 years, and ultimately 50 years to do more, love more, be more, and to excel.
Yeah. And as a successful female healthcare entrepreneur, what is the one piece of advice that you would like to give others who could potentially follow in your footsteps or in another industry?
I'm going to, we were discussing last night, me and Ramia, we were on the bus together. And it was then I decided to tell you all a story. Because, you know, she's a big fan of stories, and she said you have to. Stories.
I'm a storyteller, too.
The first time I realized that I was different, which means that I wasn't a boy, I was a girl, was when I was 9 years old. And it was when all the men in our household and all the cousins, they were going hunting. And I was so excited that I was going to go hunting with them. So I donned on my gear, and I was there first crack of dawn, and I got on the Jeep, and my cousins started laughing. And I was amazed, why are they laughing? I mean, I have to go hunting. And then my uncle picked me up and gently put me down, and he said, but you can't go hunting. And I said, why can't I go hunting? He said, because you're a girl. I thought that didn't make any sense to me. I have hands, feet, I'm wearing the right gear. Why can't I go hunting? And he's like, Khalas, don't talk to me, go ask your mother. You know. I went and I asked my mother, I was like, why can't I go hunting? They're like, you're a girl. I went and asked my grandfather, anybody and everybody this. This was the only thing that I got. And this was the start of many other incidents which happened over the course of years, which actually I didn't realize at that point, and none of you would realize growing up, that we start getting conditioned on what to do, how to behave, how to react, what to wear, how to be. And we get boxed, and that box gets smaller and smaller as we grow up. And that starts shaping your thoughts and your vision and your ambitions, because how far can you think when you constantly have someone saying, you can't do this, you can't be this, you can't have this. So your ambitions start getting boxed and boxed as well. And God forbid that while growing up, you know, I come from a tribal culture, very, very orthodox tribal culture. And God forbid that I could think beyond the box, because that's just not the way that things work, you know. So when I was in my late teens, my grandfather, bless him, was a very wise man, realized what had become, on how I could not break those barriers and how I could not think outside that box in which I'd been boxed in. And he helped me get out of that box. Because he asked me at that point, first, he said, I want you to write down what your vision is and where you see yourself 10 years from now. And I wrote whatever my vision was at that point, boxed. I can't do this, I can't be this. I actually remember when I was 13 or 14, we had an essay to write in school, what would you like to be when you grow up? And I wrote, because it sounded really cool, Air Force pilot. I mean, it was when Top Gun was, you know, airing, so Air Force pilot. And my teacher failed me.
Oh, wow.
She failed me because she said, you can't, this is ridiculous. You can be a teacher, you can be a doctor, you can be a housewife, that's a full-time job. And if you want to really go crazy, you can be an artist or a painter or a poet. But these are your parameters. You can't go beyond this. So I wrote within those parameters on where I would see myself 10 years from now. And my grandfather takes a look at this paper and he realizes the problem. So he flipped the page around and he said, okay, And this is something which I will ask all of you to do. He said, think that you can be anyone you want to be. Think you can do whatever you set your mind to. Nobody is there to judge you. Nobody is there to question you. Think that you have all the luck in the world and you have everything at your disposal, because if you set your mind to do something, every atom in this universe will conspire to make it happen. And he said, think beyond the possible, beyond the skies. And suddenly, now the world opens up to me, and now I have a problem. Because the earlier one I wrote in 5 minutes. Now I have to think. And I did. I went above and beyond what was possible and what my boundaries allowed, and I wrote down my vision. And that's my advice to each and every one of you, to break your boundaries and to unbox yourselves.
Yeah. Fantastic piece of advice. Thank you so much for chatting with us today. So
Thank you, Ramia.
inspirational, Shaista, to chat with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.